Do a review of some Burly Man Tactical gear, and what it is, a friend of mine got in contact with them to talk about some of their products, and he was actually kind enough to ship them some samples. Buddy of mine says, the guy told him, hey, try it out, we want your feedback, do some shooting with them, whatever. So buddy of mine passed me down. He knows I shoot a lot, do some reviews here on YouTube. So I put a lot of dry practice to this particular holster here in the last week or so. I've probably got about 400 or so dry repetitions through it. I've made some changes on it. I'd like to cover those changes in detail, especially to help with Burly Man Tactical with some of my feedback I found. You wanted basically someone who's, quote unquote, a shooter who actually uses uses your gear and kind of knows what you want in gear. So, like I said, I've done a lot of dry practice. I've made some changes. The change I made, it's an awesome holster now. I'll show it to you. This is their appendix setup, and what it is, it's basically carries a Glock 19 or Glock 17. It's open-ended, and then it has a mag carrier attached to it. And it's got a great ride height, everything like that. That's what in an appendix setup, that is a really important part of it, is the ride height from your belt. If it's too high, it wants to flop over. If it's too low, it's hard to grip and get out of the holster with. So this has a good ride height with it. Seems to be good quality Kydex that's used. So we'll go ahead and we'll step over here. I'll do some live fire with it, show you guys how it works, and then we'll do some reloads, and then we'll go do a tabletop and give you a detailed review of this product and some other things that he basically shipped in to take a look at. All right, guys, we're gonna do some live fire here with the Burly Man Tactical appendix carry holster. So we're just gonna come out of the holster, fire 2 rounds, come in, reluctantly reholster there, out. So that's live fire with this particular setup, and like I said, I'll take you in the classroom over here where the light is a little better, and we'll take it off and we'll give you some close-up details and the things that I changed on this. As a shooter, or actually using my gear, what changes I made on this to make this what I consider for me a better holster, and how I'd rate this holster now is an excellent setup with the few minor changes I made to it. So we'll see you over in the classroom, and I'll have some more gear from them to show you, and we'll go over in detail. All right, guys, we're in here to take a closer look at some products from Burly Man Tactical, and the one I spent the most time with is this holster here. I put this on. I did a little bit of dry fire with it, dry fire practice. Did work good. It had a good retention, everything like that as far as that goes. But the one I did spend the most time with is this one here. And this particular holster looks like the model they call it is a Wingman. They kind of check off everything as far as the options go on it. So it's right hand Wingman's for a 17 or 19 because it's got an open end. They actually offer a cut like a Trigicon RMR or RMR cut. This one is circled no, that it's not clearanced. And it also has the claw, which that's a great little piece on appendix carry holsters. It does keep it kind of tighter to your body. Looks like it's a double stack magazine, bullets forward for a pistol, right hand carry with mag attached, inside the waistband, appendix, and belt clip type was RCS. This is what it shipped with. And me personally, this is my own personal opinion, I'm not a fan of these because they can slip during a fast draw, or if you've been moving around all day, these may have kind of come up and rode over your belt just a little bit, and then if you do jerk that holster out and it's got a decent amount of retention, it's possible to actually pull the holster out with the gun. So me personally, that's my own personal opinion, I'm not a fan of these. I'm a fan of the soft loops. So I did install the soft loops on this holster with the struts. So that is something I modified on it, and that's just personal preference for me. I believe the soft loops are more heavy duty. They stay in place longer. Obviously, if they do offer that, that's going to be an option that's probably going to cost you a little more because these soft loops are, you know, fairly expensive. So, but that is a modification I did on this holster. Another thing that I did on the holster is it did come with pretty tight retention to it, which is easily adjustable as far as heating it up, you know, and bending it out if you need to, adjusting the screws and whatnot. So it's nice if, you know, that you have the option to get a lot of retention if you want to, because it's kind of, I think it's easier to relieve some tension than it is to try to put some in it. So that wasn't an issue after I adjusted it. The other thing is this came with a lot of kydex covering the trigger guard. In fact, it came all the way down to about right here. You know, this tracked all the way down. It covered a lot of the mag release as it came out. Well, in theory it seems cool, but if you're an actual shooter and you use it, what happens is when you go to grab your gun, this is what you're doing. You know, you're coming in fast for a draw stroke. And what it was, there was too much material right here. Like I said, it was filled in all the way back. So I made what I guess you consider a combat cut or something like that to get my basic finger to clear the holster completely, that I was touching all gun when I went for my draw stroke. So to me, this was a big change and a big improvement to the holster. Something that they might want to look into, because you still get your attention, you still cover your trigger, everything like that, but I think there was just too much material in here, at least to draw fast. I mean, if you're just putting it on for EDC and wearing around and you're not doing, you know, a lot of dry practice with it, a lot of live fire, you probably won't notice it. But if you're a shooter and you're actually using your gear, I think you'll definitely see an advantage of this area being clearanced here for your hand to draw. So with these changes, like I said, I had to relieve the tension just a little bit. I put on struts with soft loops just due to personal preference. Like I said, it's not that these don't work, I just think that these work better. And then the cut here. Now with these changes I done to the holster, I would say that this holster is like a 9.5. It's an awesome holster. It's probably, in this configuration, the best appendix setup I've ever used. Another thing is I run a Glock 17 mag as a backup to my 19. If you run a 19 magazine, it comes down right about to the sweat guard right here, and that's something you might want to look into clearancing here, taking off a little bit of that. And it looks like it's an option in their little selection chart here of how much sweat shield you want. It looks like this is low. So they have a no option, a low, a mid, and a full. So this is their low option. So like I said, if you're going to run a 19 magazine, you might select none, but what I like is having a little bit here on the gun itself, so when you do go to holster, you got something to come into and kind of guide you down into the holster. So a sweat shield on the gun is a positive for me. I really like having you know, higher sweat shield on the holster portion itself, but this here, if I carried a 19 magazine, I would trim that. So other than that, guys, I mean, it was just some yeah, a little bit of modifications that was more, I would say, geared towards personal preference. But after I did those, man, this is definitely an awesome holster. And I'll have to see what I can talk my buddy out of it as far as getting to keep it or whatever we do with it. But great holster now. Like I said, it's definitely my favorite appendix setup that I've tried. These other ones here, like I said, I put this on. I've tried it, you know, dry fire as far as that goes. Probably maybe 20, 30 draw strokes out of it, and it was fine. The retention's good on it. And like I said, I just dropped it down a little bit from the configuration it was to ride a little lower. Same thing I did with this. It rides kind of down a little bit. There's a fine line with appendix carry, and that's what kind of makes or breaks an appendix holster usually is your ride height. If it's too low, you can't get a good grip on it, you know, because it interferes with your belt when you go to make a grip. If it's too high, you get a good grip on it, but it wants to tip out, you know, as you're wearing it. So as you bend over, you're doing this, doing that, or just the weight of the gun wants to tip it out, and it prints pretty bad if it rides too high. So this one, once it was adjusted, rode pretty good. The retention on this one was good. You know, I didn't do any adjustments to the retention on this one. So great holster. It doesn't have the wing on it here that presses against your belt. That's what that wing basically does is as your belt rides through this contacts your belt as it sucks to your body. So it keeps this holster from tilting, which keeps it in, you know, to your abdomen or whatever, and it prints a whole lot less. It rides a lot more stable on your body. So it looks like an option on their chart, but that's definitely a good option if you're looking for appendix carry. I would definitely highly recommend selecting that option. Some of the other mags they shipped, This one here, I haven't even put on yet, so I can't give you any kind of a good review on it or negative review, whatever you want to say. I honestly just didn't have time to use this one yet. Just from looking at it though, the retention's kind of loose on this, but the tension's adjusted there. So it looks like it just might need a few turns on the screws there as far as to get a little more retention. I mean, even there, it's not going to fall out, so that, you know, it's enough. I just like a little bit more on my holsters as far as retention goes. But like I said, didn't get a chance to try this out. One thing they ship too is an Armag holder. And if I could recommend anything to them is this basically could only be used as a on like body armor, something like that, like on a vest, because there's no bend in it. So if you see how wide this is, if you try to put this on your body, you know, you're gonna have to almost carry appendix to get a flat enough spot on your body, because if you want to run it here, it's just not going to be comfortable. It needs to have a natural bend in it, you know, for your body. So if I could recommend anything to them on this, would be to put a bend in it, or if it's marketed as a plate carrier setup, then, you know, molly loops would probably be, you know, a better setup for this holster if it's going to be ran on body armor. But if it's made to run on a belt, you know, it's got to have some sort of bend in it just so it fits your body. You know, there's just nowhere that's your body's that flat, you know, to wear it comfortably. So I would say definitely, guys, look at putting a bend into that, you know, natural curve. Same thing goes with their Glock mag carrier. You'll see the same thing. It's straight. You know, typically if you run them in like competitions, a lot of them dictate where you can place your mag holders. You know, if it has to be, you know, past your pant line or something like that, or if you can run it as far up front as you can, you might be able to get away with it there, depending on how your body shape is. But once again, something with a double like that, you know, my personal opinion, it should have just, you know, a little bit of bow to it to naturally fit your body wherever you want to wear it. So, but the quality of the Kydex, the way it's assembled, everything looks good, you know, on the products. They definitely got a good product going. They got good polishing on the corners of the Kydex, nice heavy duty clips. Belt loops, because some manufacturers you see, if they get real cheap, they'll just basically use bent Kydex, and that's definitely a no-go. Those things crack and break when you put try to put a 90 in a piece of Kydex on a belt loop. It ain't gonna last you very long. So these are nice quality belt loops on it. So they got a good thing going here. But like I said, as a shooter and using your equipment, that's my personal opinion on it, because like I said, I train with all the gear I use before I basically go out on the streets with it or whatever. I try to give it a once over, make sure everything's right, because the first thing you don't want to do is go out there with something you're not familiar with and can't get your gun out or whatever. You can't draw it right. It's riding too low. You can't get a good grip and purchase on your grip when you're going for your draw stroke. So try your equipment, guys. If you're a shooter, you might want to make these little bit of changes. As far as like just EDC goes, this looks like right out of the box. This is pretty decent. And this one here is their same model, the Wingman, but it doesn't have the little ear on it there, which is they call it a claw. So it doesn't have that claw option, and it's only got one bolt hole, I noticed, instead of the two like this one. So maybe when you order the claw, they have to put the double attachment points into the holster. So like I said, guys, definitely a good start on these. As far as the company goes, my buddy was talking to him. Sounded like they were a really great bunch of guys over there. They really were wanting some feedback on their products. I hope I can give this to them. Like I said, just with those small changes I made, I would say, man, this is definitely my favorite appendix holster here, and I'll continue to run that thing as long as I can. But give them a try, guys. I don't know pricing. I seen them on eBay. It looks like they have some opening bids on stuff, and I want to say something similar to this. This model was opening bid of I think $69, and it had a buy it now of $90 or $95. At $69, this is a bargain, guys. If you happen to be able to catch it and no one bids against you, man, $69. Honestly, I would pay $69 for this holster all day long. Like I said, I'd still make these improvements. Maybe if they look into that, maybe they want to make those improvements out of the box, just kind of maybe offer it as a combat cut or something like that to get you a little more clearance on your trigger guard. Might be a good thing, way for them to go. But great holster, guys. I mean, like I said, $69. I personally would pay that all day long for this holster. When you compare it to some of like the Incogs, the G-code holsters, you're looking at $125, $140 by the time you get the Mag Caddy and all that kind of stuff. So it's half the price of an Incog, and I think you're getting basically the same stuff as you would with an incog. So anyways, I just wanted to put it out there, guys, a quick review of Burly Man Tactical. Looks like they got a great start on products, and I would like to see, like I said, if they do make any kind of improvements like that, I would definitely like to try out another one. I might even order one in a different color just to try out. So there it is, guys. Burly Man Tactical, check them out. I know they're on eBay, and hopefully they have a website or something like that too. But just look, you can search Burly Man Tactical on eBay, and I found a bunch of the products on eBay. So hope that helps you out, guys. Good product, and check it out. Thanks. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.